Developer Housemarque has just released its big-budget roguelite exclusive for the PS5. With games like Resogun and Super Stardust HD on their belt, does their bullet hell craziness transition well into 3D? Well, check it out. Returnal is a third-person shooter roguelite wrapped up in a sci-fi psychological horror skin. It definitely gets points for being a weird and unique game. The shooting in the game feels really great, and the variety of different guns also helps the game feel fresh and interesting. Returnal definitely wants to keep you light on your feet, so expect to be running and gunning to stay alive, much akin to the Doom series. The reticule often seems pretty big and forgiving, making the game more about dodging the waves of colorful death orbs rather than being pinpoint accurate. And in these frantic, fast-paced arenas, this approach works very well. Every weapon also has an alternate firing function, different stats, and a swath of abilities that further change up how you tackle combat. As your weapon proficiency goes up, you find better leveled weapons, so you'll be switching out guns pretty often. And sometimes it was really hard deciding between certain weapons. Some give you small amounts of healing, and some handle long-distance enemies better. Weighing your options is definitely a big part of this game. The dodge mechanic feels accurate and precise, making some of the more difficult parts of the game challenging but never feel frustratingly difficult, which is something I appreciated. I was going in expecting the game to be Dark Souls hard, and while some encounters were challenging, the tight movement and controls never killed me. If I died in Returnal, I knew it was my fault and not the game's. And speaking of dying, when you meet your inevitable end, you return all the way back to the beginning. But because rooms are procedurally laid out, it generally feels pretty fresh. After playing about 20 plus hours, I still haven't gotten bored of traversing the strange world of Atropos. The game is a roguelite though, so as you get new upgrades to your suit, you'll be able to take alternate paths and shortcuts, and you won't have to fight previous bosses unless you're looking to gain more buffs on your run. In a sense, this made Returnal feel like I was playing a Metroidvania, which was super cool, and with a great map system reminiscent of Metroid Prime, all the nostalgic nods were there. As you progress through your runs, you'll collect artifacts, parasites, and all sorts of buffs and debuffs. This is what really makes up your different build each run. And while I would have appreciated a little more variety like Hades, the game does enough to synergize it all together and make each upgrade feel important. Artifacts simply give you bonuses, stat augments increase your core abilities, and parasites give you a trade-off, further emphasizing a min-max build. The parasites definitely add a level of risk-reward to the game, keeping player choice at the forefront of the experience. The only negative I have is a minor one, but still a negative. Their parasites cap out at 5, and the artifacts have a cap of 15. If you're doing a longer, more expanded run, you're going to hit this cap, and at least for me, it was quite frustrating, especially for the artifacts. Why is there a cap in the first place in a roguelite? Isn't making yourself stronger as you play the point of the game? And the fact that you can't exchange artifacts with new ones certainly feels like a nice slap in the face. Like I said, minor issue I ran into, but seemed kinda dumb. Lastly, to round off the mechanics, Returnal has malignant items scattered throughout the world. Whether they're keys, health items, or treasure chests, these malignant items have a chance of inflicting a malfunction on your suit if you interact with them. Some of the malfunctions feel harmless, while others can drastically alter your survivability. And if you would get a third malfunction, this triggers a critical malfunction instead, permanently removing an artifact or some other buff from your inventory. Each malfunction thankfully has a way of getting repaired, but some are easier said than done, so make sure you don't get too careless with the malignancy. It may end up costing you. Thankfully, across the game's 6 biomes, there are a numerous amount of enemies, all creepy and terrifying in their own ways. Like in Dark Souls, they all have patterns to memorize, but throw in multiple different types of enemies, and the screen can get pretty chaotic very quickly. The bosses in the game feel exceptional to fight against, each one having their own unique set of crazy bullet hell moves to dodge. They're great set pieces for each biome, and serve as a satisfying challenge to your current skill and build. So without revealing any spoilers, Returnal is both a science fiction and a psychological horror story. While I can't say I haven't seen similar narratives in movies, the game manages to blend the genres nicely, and keep you interested and mystified through the experience. And like many games nowadays, there are more story bits for those players who seek it out, up to and including an additional ending even after the credits roll. The world setting definitely draws inspiration from H.P. Lovecraft and the Alien series, so much so that even our main character Selene sometimes gives off some Ripley vibes.
Astro received my signal. Then... that's it.
It's definitely an interesting and terrifying world to get lost in. The art style of Atropos feels heavily inspired by Metroid Prime and Alien. It was really cool traversing an ancient alien planet where everything's trying to viciously kill you. The different biomes are distinctly colorful and mysterious, my favorite being the Crimson Wasteland Desert you cross. The environments themselves were truly brimming with life, with fauna reacting to your presence, and you could literally feel the raindrops hitting you from the DualSense controller. The PS5 certainly does an excellent job at making you feel immersed every step of the way. The music is really good. It's got that classic sci-fi soundtrack and makes good use of atmospheric and action tracks to keep the mood consistent with the gameplay. Each of the boss tracks were exceptionally well made and really energized me during the big fights. I got no complaints. Overall, this is hands down a great game to play, blending the best elements of Metroid, Doom, Nier, Hades, Alien, and Dark Souls. Returnal comes out feeling surprisingly unique and fresh. The controls are tight and responsive, the audio feedback is great, and those looking for an interesting roguelite won't be disappointed. Aside from the minor artifact gripe and the fact that you can't save mid-run, Returnal is yet another Sony exclusive that kicks ass and stands out amongst its competition. It's a game that has infinite replayability, fast and exciting combat, and writing that'll keep you interested throughout your entire experience. I hope you all enjoyed the review. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and tell me down in the comments below what your favorite alternate firing skill is. And until next time, this is Game Ghost. Happy gaming.